Good morning. Kom ons kyk wie's hierso. Our host this morning, Pieter Louw. Oh, we've got quite a few.
Morning.
Quite lots of happy faces on a Monday morning. Gert, ons sien jy's 2 plekke hier.
Ek het probeer inkom op alle plekke wat ek kon en so ek gaan nou vir my probeer self uitkry hier.
Ja, nee, maar toe maar wat, jy kan maar op 2 plekke wees op. Al hoor jy dubbel die boodskap.
Ja.
Okay, is Irma en Jackie en dis seker Miriam weer wat sy naam join is en Jackie en ek sien hallo Spy en Renee. Alright, let's go, Pietertjie.
Ons gooi.
Gooi op.
Okay, morning everybody. Pieter Louw from Oudtshoorn. We are 23 years in the business, enjoying excellent health. And we started when we were farming in the Great Karoo, and I lacked some energy. Our children had some health issues, and after started using the product, we fell in love with it, and with it came the business as well. So we sold the farm eventually and moved down to Oudtshoorn. So now we are living in Oudtshoorn, outside Oudtshoorn, actually on a smaller lane, and enjoying every moment of it. Our trail running trails are around us, and that gives us the opportunity to do it whenever we want to. Okay, Karina touched a little bit on atomic habits last week, and I wanted to join in with her on this because it's such a big issue in changing our lives. We are in the business of changing lives. Physically as well as financially, and it's about creating new habits. Now, this is a big topic. It's a thick book to read, to go through, but I just want to touch on some topics this morning. I also have a small video clip that I want to share with you, and I hope it works, because last night when I tried it was a little bit sticky, stokkerig. So let's see. Just get myself out of the way. Let's see how it goes. Just tell me if the sound is not correct.
Just make sure that you press share sound. It's working.
We're often told that we need to think big, make drastic changes, or perhaps even move across continents. But what if we could achieve major transformations just through small tweaks to our daily routines? We all tend to overestimate the importance of single actions and underestimate the power of making small improvements repetitively over a longer period of time. Real change comes from the compound effects of hundreds of small decisions or small habits that over time accumulate to produce remarkable results, changing our lifestyles, behaviors, and identities. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel and to the second episode of Book Club, a new series where I summarize the key insights and ideas from some of my favorite books. And today we're talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is all about the power and process of building good habits and breaking bad ones. Through examples from sports, business, and education, along with evidence from psychology and neuroscience, the book explains the science and practical implications of how tiny habits and minuscule changes can grow into life-altering outcomes and help us lead healthier, happier, and more productive lives. So there's basically 4 key insights from this book that we're going to talk about in turn. Firstly, we'll talk about the power of 1% changes over time. Secondly, why we should screw goals and focus on systems instead. Thirdly, why it's all about identities rather than outcomes. And finally, we'll look at what our boy James calls the 4 fundamental laws of behavior change. So firstly, why does 1% matter? Well, it's all about the power of compounding. Compounding can be amazingly powerful, both positively and negatively, if we leave it to develop over a period of time. If we can get 1% better each day for a year, we'll end up 37 times better by the time we're done. But if we get 1% worse each day for 1 year, we'll go down nearly to 0. As James says in his book, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Habits don't seem to make much difference on a given day, but the impact over months or years can be absolutely enormous. We don't often think about these small changes just because it takes so long to see the result. Like, this is something that I really struggle with. And I think this probably applies to everyone. Like, we're so attuned in modern society to try and seek instant gratification that it's actually really hard to focus on things that have long-term benefits. Equally, the slow rate of transformation also means that it's really easy to let bad habits creep in, like eating badly and not exercising. And when we repeat these 1% errors day after day, they'll accumulate into larger problems. As James says in the book, time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally, bad habits make time your enemy. Now, one of the other key points from our boy James's analysis of habits is what he calls the plateau of latent potential, which sounds all very fancy. Habits often don't seem to make a difference until we cross a critical threshold. We expect progress to be linear, but the key aspect of any compounding process is that the outcomes are delayed. This leads to an initial valley of disappointment where we don't feel like we're making progress as the results don't follow the linear trajectory that we expect. And so we just give up because we're not getting the results we wanted. But as we can see from the graph, it does take time to build a habit to allow the compound interest of self-improvement to take hold and give us amazing results over time. Key point number 2 from the book is to screw goals and focus on systems instead. James identifies 4 main problems with goal setting. Firstly, winners and losers have the same goals. Every Olympian wants the gold medal, every candidate wants the job, and so it can't be the goal that actually differentiates people. Secondly, achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Sure, I might be able to pluck up the activation energy to bring myself to clean my room, but if I continue my waste man habits and systems that led to the room getting messy in the first place, I'm just going to be left with a messy room again in a few days' time. In the same way, when we achieve a goal, we only change our life for the moment. We get these temporary results. Instead, what we really need to change is the systems that cause those results in the first place. Thirdly, James argues that goals restrict our happiness. There's an implicit assumption behind any goal, and that's once I reach my goal, then I'll be happy. And so we end up continuously putting off happiness until the next milestone. Finally, goals are at odds with long-term progress. There's another really nice quote here. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. Like for me, with this YouTube channel, I deliberately don't have any goals for it because, like, what's the point? I mean, I might say to myself, oh, it would be, you know, my goal is to hit 1 million subscribers by next year or whatever. But I'm not trying to win YouTube by hitting a certain subscriber count. I just love the process of making these videos, and it's fun and it's great and it makes money and it's sustainable. And it's just like, I want to continue playing the game. I don't want to try to win the game.
It's this idea between the system and you know, like say you're playing a sport. In every sport, the goal is to have the best score on the scoreboard at the end of the game. But it would be ridiculous to spend all game looking at the scoreboard because it wouldn't help you in any way. So in fact, if you just ignored the score the entire time and just focus on a better process or playing a better way or a better scheme or strategy, then you probably would end up with the best score. I think Bill Walsh, who was the Super Bowl winning head coach for the San Francisco 49ers, he had this quote, it was like, the score takes care of itself. And that I think that probably applies to a lot of tracking.
So now that we've seen why systems are so important, key point number 3 is another quote from the book, and that is identity change is the North Star of habit change. We've got outcomes on the outside concerned with changing the results, and then processes related to our habits and systems, and finally our identity, which is related to our beliefs. Most of us work from outcome to identity than identity to outcome. But as our boy James says, the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of our identity. When we solve problems in terms of outcomes and results, we only solve them temporarily. But to solve problems in the longer term, at the systems level, we need to change our identity. This point really resonated with me when I first read the book. Like, I've been struggling personally with A, eating healthily, and B, going to the gym for the last several years. And before, I used to have an outcomes-based way of looking at it. So I used to think, I want to get rid of my belly fat. Therefore, I'm going to follow Tim Ferriss's low-carb diet. therefore I'll be a healthy person. But since reading the book, I now have more of a identity-based approach to looking at this. So I think I try to think in my head, I'm a healthy person. Therefore, as a healthy person, I will eat wholesome food and exercise regularly. And then one day, maybe I'll look like Zac Efron. We'll see how that goes. And finally, point number 4, at this point, we're thinking, okay, cool. I'm sold on the idea of building useful habits. I'm sold on the idea that it's all about tiny improvements over a very long time. And it's all about systems rather than goals. But how do we actually build those habits in the first place? How do we overcome the difficulty? Well, I'm glad you asked. We can actually split up the process of building habits into 4 stages: craving, response, and reward. The cue.
Okay, we'll stop there with the video. And I'm going to touch on one of the points that we mentioned. As you saw in the video, that the guy who wrote the book, James Clear, is not the one doing the video, but I will urge you to go and look for James. There are hours-long trainings of him on YouTube about the topic of atomic habits. So just one of the points that he mentioned, forget about goals, focus on systems instead. Now, he speaks about systems. We can use the term process or habits. So habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. And it's like saving money. When you save money, you can start small, but over time, it will become more because you get interest on interest. That is the power of compound interest, is that you get paid on interest as well, not only on your input. Okay, what's the difference between about the results you want to achieve? The goal weight or the fat percentage or whatever, while the systems are about the process that leads to those results. For setting a direction, the systems are best for making progress. When you want to achieve a certain goal, you want to focus more on the system, the process that take you towards your goal and not on the goal itself. A certain weight, a goal is a certain weight or fat percentage. In our instance, we work towards a certain height, maybe whatever physical change you want to achieve in your life. And the lifestyle is important, that will take you, actually more important than the goal itself, to take you to your goal. Now, the 4 problems that he mentioned, when you focus too much on your goals, is that winners and losers have the same goals. We use the example of the Olympics, and achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Goals restrict our happiness, and goals are at odds with long-term progress. Let's go through them one by one. Quickly, as I've said, every Olympian wants to win a gold medal, and most of life distributors, if you ask him, want to achieve president's team level. But why don't everyone reach president's level or achieve a gold medal at the Olympics? If successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winner from the losers. So it doesn't help if I ask you to set huge goals for yourself, especially for the business, but also for your physical progress. Successful and unsuccessful people many times share the same goals. So setting goals is part of the process, but it's not the most important part. If I focus on the process, I can achieve a goal without even stating a goal or setting a goal for myself. And achieving a goal is only a momentary change. He used the example of organized room or neat room. When you don't change the process, the outcome will be the same. We think we need to change the results, but the results are not the problem. I look at my weight or my fat percentage and I think, okay, I need to change my fat percentage. And now I work and I achieve my fat percentage. And now I've reached that goal, and then I fall back into my old habits. That's not what we want. What we need to change are the systems or the habits that cause those results, bad or good habits. So fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. And that's the whole process of changing your lifestyle, is to change the inputs. And also, we saw it during this first few days of the marathon as well. People tie their happiness to their goals. The problem with the goals first mentality is that you're continually putting happiness off until the next milestone. I haven't achieved the weight loss during the last day or week, and now I'm unhappy. Or I will be happy when I achieve this. Now, you can use an example of a car as well. I will be happy when I can buy myself this X model of a car. That was your goal 20 years ago. But you are not driving that car anymore. So at some stage, you became unhappy again. So it's not achieving the goal. It's a momentary mentality. Fall in love with the process rather than the end product. You don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. And goals are at odds with long-term progress. Goal-orientated mindset can create a yo-yo effect. We see that very often with our business and in the results of people. They achieve a goal and then they fall back into their old habits. And the purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building habits is to continue playing the game. You want to be healthy for the rest of your life, or on your goal weight for the rest of your life, not just to attend a wedding or whatever your goal might be, or to fit in a bikini this summer. And ultimately, it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. Important, your commitment to the process that will determine your progress, not the commitment to the goal. Okay, and then our recipe, example of 3 meals and 2 snacks. That's how we achieve most of our healthy lifestyle goals. Of course, with exercise that we will touch on during the rest of the week. But this is just an example for those who are new on the process. We eat 5 times a day, most of the time. So not every day, but most of the day. That's part of the process. You don't have to be perfect every time. Be perfect in the process, not in the outcome. So a healthy breakfast, shake, tea, aloe, multi-fiber, snack at 10 o'clock, lunch, shake from flapjack or shake in the flapjack form. And again, a snack in the afternoon. and dinner, a healthy meal with your family. Thank you. We can, is there any time, Elsa, for just a little discussion on some of the points? Yeah. If somebody has to want to add something, welcome.
Dankie, dit was stunning. So a nice summary of the book. So really,
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I remember,
book.
I remember a training of Leon Weisbein once that he also said, you know, the goal is important, but it's your daily activity, your daily actions that's going to bring you to that goal. So some people focus way too much on that, but actually doing that daily to-do list and doing the daily activity and employing yourself will get you to that where you want to go. So I'm sure he read this book.
Yeah. No, it was really a great book for me to read as well.
Yeah.
And, actually, the process of setting the goals and achieving the goals is it's the rest of the book. This is just an introduction to the book. I will urge everybody to read it, especially we coaches that work with people and changing habits.
Yeah. Because I found with the 10 days that some people love the weighing in every day.
Yeah.
And it works for them, but for some people they hate their daily weigh because the scale does fluctuate, and sometimes it's water, something, you know, different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes because you cheated. And yeah, so for them that doesn't work, but that's how, you know, every individual is different. Can we have anybody else that wants to make a comment? I think great session, Pieter. Karina, jy's gemute.
No, sorry. I just wanted to add to that. You know, I think with our marathons, it is also something that we need to teach our people, is that it's not actually about the weight that you submit every day. It's about the habit of submitting the weight.
Yeah.
Because it's the habit that motivates you to do your best in that day. And it's getting into a new habit, and that's what's difficult. So because after the first few days, it's easy to submit the first couple of days, and then after that it becomes boring, and it becomes more and more of a schlep. Now you've got to remember, and you don't remember because you're not excited anymore, and it fluctuates. But that is when you have to work through the boredom, actually. And if you want to make that a habit, because it will help you to be your healthy self, your best healthy weight in the end for the rest of your life, then you've got to work through that boredom. So that's something that we also need to maybe make our people aware of, and be aware of ourselves, is that it's not an easy thing to do. And that's why some people, I think, don't like it. But it's the hard thing to do. It's the hard thing to keep on doing. You know, so, but if you have the commitment of that is what you want to do, because that helps you to keep you on the right track, then it is something that you have to work through. Is that hard, but that difficult part.
Yeah. Another excellent book that Elsa gave us a few years back was The One Thing. And there the writer also emphasizes that to change a habit in the beginning, you need lots of self-discipline. But until it becomes a habit, when it becomes a habit, you don't think about it. You don't need discipline anymore. It's part of your life. So, yeah, and James also mentioned in his book that it's not how long it takes to establish a new habit. It's how many repetitions. So if you want to change the more, that's why, Karina, you mentioned the daily weight is to keep you on track and to build that habit. You don't have to weigh yourself every day for the rest of your life, but it will help you to establish that healthy lifestyle that you, and that's the habit that we want to create.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to add something?
Elsa, Pieter, we're going to clone you guys, eh? Thanks, Karina. So you're in for a thing. Thank you.
Welcome,
Okay,
Martie.
Marty. Okay. All right, guys. I think that was something really to think about. I'm definitely gonna read some more, but I would love you to share the clip with us, please, Pieter. If you
Yeah,
can share it
will
on the
do.
groups for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Dankie julle. Have a fabulous Monday.
Dankie.
Ja,
Bye-bye.
Dankie.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Miriam.